It's snowing.
It surely is.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Real Talk with SLR.
Good morning, good morning.
Early morning, pajama party style edition.
Enjoying my coffee.
Yeah.
Watching the snow fall.
Yeah, it's definitely starting to come down pretty thick right now. It's not fully sticking to the ground.
Not yet.
All that is going to be ice.
Yeah.
Like you could already, but it's falling and it's making everything all wet.
Yeah.
But look how pretty it is. It's fluttering around.
It's beautiful.
Everything is calm and still.
Absolutely beautiful. If it was snowing a little bit harder due to all the wind, it would be a blizzard.
Yeah. You can hardly even see the mountain right now. Like it's there.
It's there, but
you can only see the front peak. You can't see the back peak or anything.
no.
It's crazy. And of course, look, our dogs are out having fun.
Enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
They have a nice bed with straw and everything. And they don't like to lay in it.
Yeah.
I have a feeling we're going to have to bring them in during the freeze just because they're ding-dongs and they don't understand the fact that, their home would make them nice and, dry and warm. And they're just like, yeah, no, this is fine. Yeah, I'm good.
Look at them playing right now.
Yeah, they're having a heyday. They're having the time of their lives out there.
Louie and Layla are. I think Luna's in the bed.
I think Luna's inside, yeah. That's where I've got their food right now.
Oh, okay.
She's probably in the house right now eating.
Yeah, but those two ding-dongs, they're just playing around. Yep.
So...
Yeah. When it does get really freezing, though, and because we're supposed to go down to 2 degrees and whatnot, we're definitely going to be bringing the dogs in at night.
Yep.
Because if they're wet, and then it freezes like that, I mean, they're cold, hardy dogs, and I'm sure they would be okay. But
I have a feeling that they'd be fine.
I don't feel good about it.
No, with the temperature being what it's going to be, I'd rather not have them be out there at 5 degrees, 3 degrees.
We'll bring them inside and we'll put them in the kennel and that'll be that.
Yeah,
and send them back out in the morning.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Well, here, I'm going to hand you this. I'm going to get me some more coffee real quick.
Get yourself some more coffee?
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. It's been a good morning, though. Yeah. I cannot believe that it's snowing right now, though. I can believe it, but at the same time, I still can't.
It's always magical every time, right?
Every time that it snows, it's like, man.
It's magic.
It's snowing. Geez. I don't know.
It's nice. It's nice. I love this season. Everything is quiet and calm, and it's nice. Very, very nice. Well, hey, I promised you guys in some of the comment section, I had replied that we were going to answer some of your questions, and we're going to do that. Let me make my coffee, and I'll get my phone out. There was a lot of questions now that video came out with the ice and water shield. There was lots of questions. Why are we doing it this way and that way? And I'm gonna put it up to you, baby, because you're the man with the plan and the answers. I will say, though, right now, I am feeling very happy that all this can do this, and there's no stress in me at all that upstairs is going to be a waste of money or...
I'm so happy that we got that done.
Yeah, me
because
too.
that just helps out that wood so much.
Oh, yeah.
It helps it out, tremendously.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
I mean, we've been a part of some, not cabin teardowns, but, some shed teardowns and other stuff that, right?
With David, yeah.
With David and
Mike.
We've seen what happens with certain things if you don't do certain steps, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't add even just say the tar paper or the felt paper down first before you do anything else, that helps out a lot. And just having the ice and water shield is going to help out that much more.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking.
You're looking?
Yeah, I'm
okay.
looking. I'm
Sorry.
looking. Hold on.
I thought you had found one and...
No. It does help out a lot, though. It helps out tremendously with protecting the wood, and which in then protects your investment. I mean, me and Gary don't want to go up there and rip it all off and do it all again. That was expensive.
See, that's my big MO. If you guys didn't know, I didn't really want 100% move into the basement. I didn't. All right. Reason being is because I'm going to have to come back around and try to finish tying everything in afterwards. And there's going to be things that I'm going to have to do again. And I just don't like doing things twice. I'd rather do it once and do it once good knowing that I don't have to go back and do it again. Like, that's a pet peeve of mine.
Okay, so one of the first questions is from Brian Wilkerson. Thank you so much for leaving it. I hope that you watch Real Talk and you'll see that your question's being answered. He says, I have a question. When it's time for the metal on the roof, do you have to take the ice and water shield off or just put the metal up on top of it?
So you can put the metal straight on top of it. So if I wanted to, I could put the metal straight down and I could zap it in and we're good to go from there. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go another step above and we're going to be doing a rain screen in between that layer and the roof. So it's going to make it to where if any water does get in that area, it'll actually be able to air out and dry out and not be sitting there with, you know, wet wood or wet any material wise. The ice and water shield, you know, I want to make sure that all that stays nice and dry. So
here, baby, I'm setting us up a nice spot so that way you can...
so I can put it down. Thank you.
Yeah, because I could see Gary sitting here.
My arm is starting to shake.
I got you guys. We're going to do some Q&A for y'all.
I can't help it.
Squirrel. Rando mornings with Mel and Gary. I hope that you guys enjoy these real sessions.
But yes, if you wanted to, you could go straight onto there. You can even, if you were doing, say, like shingles, you could go straight shingles right on top of that. So...
The next question is from Pam Lucas and says, thank you, that was interesting. What type of metal are you eventually going to be putting on the roof? It looks very neat, Gary. Great job.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Pam.
We are going to be going with the standing seam metal. There's multiple reasons why. There are some downsides with the standing seam metal. I'm not going to say that it's like the perfect metal. You know, everything's got its downsides and you always have to outweigh the pros and cons. And the big pro to me is if you do it correctly the way that it's supposed to be done, it'll be good for 50 years. And then you'll have to go up there and mess around with some stuff here and there, you know, but the metal itself lasts for a very, very long time. And hiding all the fasteners is the biggest part to a metal roof.
So going back again to Gary not liking to do things multiple times, he wants to do it once in his lifetime.
Yes.
I mean, if it lasts for 50 years, that's definitely going to last our lifetime.
Yep.
And it'll be our kids' problem or our grandkids' problem.
Exactly.
So, the next question comes from Feathers352. Thank you, Feathers.
Yes.
Says, great teamwork. Could you explain more about the high temperatures under the metal roof? I've heard of a vapor barrier so water on the bottom of the metal doesn't drip on the underlay.
So there is that way where you can put down basically another underlayment underneath or on top of the ice and water shield, and then you could do that, or you could even just put it straight onto the ice and water shield. It doesn't really matter per se. The biggest thing is that I'm trying to do is make it to where it's sort of like what Matt Reisinger says. It's got to have its belt and suspenders, right? Both to hold it up and everything else. And that's the biggest thing is what we did right there with the ice and water shield. That is going to be my big belt, basically. Hey. You know, and not only that, but we also had the zip board up there, and that already is water barrier and everything else barrier. So having both those barriers on there, that's already like a belt and suspender type thing. I'm going to take another step forward and put another belt on there with the rain screen. So that way, if water does get in between any of those layers, it's not going to get to the actual wood and wetting that and everything else. It should dry out with the airflow.
Which actually leads to the next question, which comes from Ridge Life. Thank you, Tim. Go Ridge Life.
Oh, yeah.
This question says, zip boards are air permeable, yet waterproof. Does the ice and water shield negate the drying ability of the zip board?
So they, as far as I know, no. Everything that I have seen online is basically what I just did. They do the zip board. Normally it's the red. Main difference between the red and the green is just thickness and how you can space them and everything. The red, you can go up to 2 foot spacing on joists and everything else like that. With the green, you have to stick to 16 just because of the you know, compression and weight ratio and deflection of everything else like that. That's sort of where you stand with it. And with the red, you can go 16 and make it even that much stiffer. But
yeah, but we went with green board all around.
I tried finding the red, but I couldn't find it in my area in a timely manner. So
we could have ordered it and then waited like several more weeks, but
like 6 months almost. Like it was a back order.
We didn't want to do that. So yeah, we ended up doing with the green. This question was from CC Ryder, and it was kind of it's a funny question, not really a question, but more of a comment. And I love you, CC, you're the best. He says, Melanie, if you're traveling at the speed of sound, what good is a horn? Because if you blow it, it's going to sound off over the town 25 miles behind you. But no, they have radios to radio ahead, and hey, you're in our radar. We're coming up too fast. Slow down. The plane helicopter. Heck yeah, get out of the way. He was commenting about the comment.
Video with the plane.
Yeah, well, that was yesterday's video where we posted the ice and water shield, and then there's that plane, that really low military aircraft.
And we
were just joking, but I mean, those are the kinds of things that I think of, all right? Does the plane have a horn?
Here's the funny thing, though. Like, I've read those comments, too, and like, we got a lot.
Half.
We got half and half of it. So do they have a horn or do they not? Because...
So from what I gather, is that, yes, they have a horn, but no, it's not a typical horn like it's in your car. Yeah. The horn that they have is used for speaking to the ground crew and speaking to, like, alerting people like inside the cabin and also down the ground crew, and that's about it.
And but it's mainly telling them, "Hey, get on your PA so I can talk to you." Right. Is basically what we gathered from the information.
And honestly, when I thought it, like, I didn't really think about how fast they're traveling and that, like, sound and speed. I didn't really think about that because sound travels differently. Yeah. Well, yeah, because like we heard the plane way before we saw the plane.
Well, no, or we seen.
We heard the plane way before we saw it.
So it wouldn't have been. So, see, and that's where I'm saying, though, like, so if the horn, right, it wouldn't be 25 yards before, it'd be after. It'd be before. Yeah. Because we heard it, way before.
Maybe it's just that plane. Who knows?
Or maybe it's the difference between the height. Because sometimes it is when the plane is so high up and far, like, almost out of sight, then you start hearing it.
That sounds like something that has to do with math and science, which is not my expertise. So
I might have to dive into that a little bit more because it is my
it is. Gary would love to.
I get intrigued with all that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Although I did hear you guys about, instead of doing this, you know, to do something like this. I don't know, what's the signal? Because they said they'll do like a plane, a wing dip or something. Mm-hmm. They'll like tip their wing.
Well, that's what the planes do.
I'm like, so what do I do? Do I do this if the planes, or like, instead of this, I do this? I don't know. But I thought that was cool. Thank you guys for answering. That was great. And then Chuck Logan wants to know, did you roll that once you got it all down?
So I tried to basically stomp it down and pat it down as best as I could. I could have probably went around with a roller, but try rolling a 4-inch roller on a 1,300 square foot both sides type thing, and
it's a big surface.
It's a big surface for a small roller. So no, I did not roll every little bit, but I did stomp on it and pat it down, and I walked every seam. Yeah. So that way it would at least hold down. And I did start putting on like zip tape, and the tape that I did put down, I did roll that tape. But that I only did like a little bit of sections, like maybe we cut everything at like 15 feet, right? Yeah. And then I would only put like maybe 3 or 4 sections of zip tape, maybe about, 6 inches long. Mm-hmm. And that was just to hold the top part from sliding down and trying to fly off the roof and everything. And that was on the other side where it was a little cold. Yeah. But the front side, man, I don't know if I don't think that I need to roll it or anything else, because that stuff was sticking in the sun. It immediately was like, it's there. And I'm like, crap, I can't move you at all.
So I thought that was very interesting, that the first day that we were doing the big sticker thing, I showed you guys in the video. I'm like, yeah, it's not even tacky. It's like a big non-sticky sticker, because it wasn't very sticky, and it was because of the temperature, right? So the first day that we were doing it, and we were doing it on the north side of the house,
I think it was like 45 when we were doing it.
It was cooler. Like so the thing is it's kind of weird, because at first it doesn't feel sticky to the touch, but then once it touches the zipboard wood, it does stick to it.
Yeah.
It's not moving or sliding. The wind can go and it's not going to fly off and flap away.
No.
It definitely got stickier. Now, when we were doing the south side of the house and it was, full sunshine, not shade at all, it was very sticky for Gary. Like the first day when we were doing it, there were times where he could like pull it up and like readjust it if there was a little wrinkle in the seam or something. Where the next day when he was doing it on the south side, it was very difficult for him to pull it up. He had to be more precise. Yeah.
I figured that out after like the first 2 that I rolled out, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is going to be a little different.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking for some more real quick because there was more. There was a lot more.
I'll let you look, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the roof choice too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because there's so much that goes into it, but I want to get the standing seam, and there are like 3 different types of standing seams or different ways that you could do it, but they all interlock and they hide the fasteners. Now, the residential one that I've been looking at, it has like a flange on the side all the way up, and it's almost like a window flange and gives you the screw holes and pattern or whatever that you need. And the downside to that one that I can see is that that flange is part of the metal, and there is no there is a bend for expansion and contraction because that's what metal does when it heats up and cools, so you have to give some sort of spacing for it, and some sort of maneuverability with it. Now, with that aspect, it makes it to where you really don't want to be just, slamming those screws home and getting them as tight as possible. You want to have them a little bit looser and everything else. And that sort of makes me uneased at my stomach. And then the other one is where it's an actual clip that you clip into it, and that clip allows it to be able to slide up and down for expansion, as well as it has a little bit of wiggle on it from where you slide it in and clip it into. But then you can slam those clips home and get those zapped into where you need them and everything else. And then it allows the maneuverability within the metal expansion and everything else, which is really nice on that one. However, that one is a little bit more of a tedious panel to use. So I'm trying to fine tune everything, but the biggest thing is it gives you the ridges. So that way later on, when we do hook up a solar panel array and everything else like that, you can clip right into the ridges and you're not having to screw them into the roof and potentially creating a leak point. So yeah, there's a lot of steps to it and pros, but
Darren Bartholomew 9273, he says, I can't watch you putting it up in short runs as there's a chance of it leaking between your joints, but it's only my opinion. Sorry, I've seen too many shortcuts from DIY people because it's easier.
I personally, I wish I could have ran it the whole distance. Now, on the product and on the box, it tells you that you have to cut them at 10 foot to 15 foot sections and to not have it longer than 15 feet. So I cut them at the longest distance that was allowed per their instructions and everything. And now I'm going to go by exactly the instructions of how to install the ice and water shield off of the actual manufacturer. And that is what it says and how it states. And the overlap itself is supposed to be overlapped this way by 6 inches. The overlap on this is by 3 inches. It's the same sort of way that you would do shingles per se, and that is the best way to do it that they have found out. Yep. And I didn't so I started on this side, went this way, and I didn't go back and go that way to where, those lines would have met up. I actually started on this side, came this way, came back over to this way, went that way, came that way.
So he staggered them.
Came back. So that way, all the seams, no matter which way, they're not going to line in the same exact spot. So
yeah, but there's so much overlap. And again, he staggered them. I am literally not concerned at all about water.
And I did it the exact way that they told me. The only thing that I didn't do is like the roller thingy, which I would have had to go and get the special one that's like almost a 3-foot roller that I would have been walking around on the roof with. So I didn't do that. That's the only thing I cheaped out on.
Flyer Patty 29. says, I haven't been watching this much because I miss you working on the house. But I guess the house is not as important as other items to you. I thought you would have had the roof like this done last year, but it's your house, not mine. I hope y'all end the best, and I'll check on you in a week or two to see if you got back to the house. So.
Those side-handed comments, I swear.
Yeah.
So the reason why we didn't do this beforehand is the ice and water shield only has an exposure rating of 120 days. Now, if I would have done that in March, I would have had to have everything else done beforehand.
By now. Yeah.
Now, giving us that time, I'm allowing a lot more freedom on our part to be able to spend it with our family and just do things that we need to do and want to do, because our 5-year goal isn't just the cabin. It's our homestead, and we have to get a lot of infrastructure done and going. So our priorities are our priorities. You guys can have priorities of what you want for us, but that doesn't make it so.
Yeah, Gary is right. We put the ice and water shield on now because the zip board had so many days of allowance to be exposed. And then now with adding the ice and water shield, that allows us an additional amount of days for it to be exposed. So it stretched the time period out for us to be able to save money for the metal for the roof.
Correct.
Everything is costly, right? There was only one question on Real Talk, and it was about the mama rabbits. Can we bring mama rabbit inside in a kennel when it's cold to have her babies? I'll answer that. So yes, we could, but no, we're not going to, because they need to be acclimated to the weather that we currently have. We cannot have her be living inside the basement. As
By
you
the
guys
time that
know,
we bring them out there, they could go bad.
well, as you guys know, we have a lot of dogs, right?
Yeah.
And we also have cats, and they are in the house, and it just would be a bad situation. It would just be commotion constantly. And like I said earlier, they need to be acclimated to the weather that we currently have. And I just feel confident that Mama Rabbit's going to do a good job this time. Time is going to tell, but I feel pretty confident that she's going to do a good job. And as far as the cold, rabbits are much more cold hardy than they are heat hardy. And with having a hay in there and having her nesting box and then us buttoning her up with, more tarps and stuff for wind protection, I feel like she's going to be just fine to have those babies. I don't think the cold is going to be the problem at all.
No.
The only worry that I have is if Mama Rabbit doesn't bury them and doesn't nurse them and take care of them like she's supposed to.
No.
That's the only worry that I have. I'm not worried in the slightest about them freezing.
No, not at all.
Even with our weather.
Even with our weather.
Even with our weather.
The things that I'm planning on doing, and I'm hoping I can get out there and do it today.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, it's going to let up at some point today.
It did finally stop snowing. But
yeah, it's still like...
It's windier than windy outside.
Windy. And then like there's little flurries too, where it's not those thick balls of snow that you guys saw in the beginning of this video where it was like big flakes coming down. It almost looks like just like rain sort of, but it's not. It's like that sleet.
No.
So I don't know. We'll see. We're going to see what today brings. I'm going to be spending a good portion of today probably just hanging in my jammies and having a jammy party, because why not? We're going to be doing some regular vlog action during this nasty weather. I hope that you guys will stick forward for it. The next video coming out on Simple Life Reclaimed is going to be a lot of us in the basement, but we've got some fun things that we'd like to share with you while we're in here.
Yes.
So hopefully you guys stay tuned for that next video. And another couple of videos coming back. We're going to be working back on the playhouse and stuff like that. So we'll be getting back to some building, but we're going to definitely be including a lot more of just the everyday life for you guys as well, since that's what we believe the heart of our channel is.
Exactly.
So anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. Drop questions down in the comment section if there's anything that you guys would like for us to address or answer or anything like that. We really appreciate you guys always loving on us and having our back throughout this whole journey. You guys are the best.
Yes.
So thank you for spending your morning with us. And as usual, friends, you know how it goes. Until the next one, we hope you have a good one.
And we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye, you guys.
Later.